Okay, so go ahead and tell us about how the relationship, how you went from meeting Easy when you were in high school, and he gave you the turntables, and then how quick it went, elevated from there into you becoming a part of going on tour with them and being a part of the organization.
Pretty much happened pretty fast. Like I said, it was NWA was pretty much together, and then JJ Fad was in the picture. He wanted me to DJ for JJ Fad, which I did for a little while, but we didn't kind of click click too well. So I went to DJ for DLC, and the DJ Train stepped in and did the JJ Fad thing. And then, honestly, like we started, it was me and Jinx. We started off as kind of when the tour started. We started off as roadies.
Right.
I'm not ashamed to ever say that. It's like,
Right.
hey, I'm out on tour with these dudes, but it kind of quickly changed up, and it was just like me strictly doing the DLC stuff, and then kind of running the NWA stage before they perform, and then Jinx went off to do the little production thing. But I mean, all that stuff kind of happened so fast. It just kind of came out of nowhere. It went from driving a van up and down the coast, selling records to different mom and pops, to hopping on planes and Easy Does It tour.
So what high school did you go to?
Long Beach, Jordan.
Right.
I went to Dominguez for a day, but they had a shootout, and my grandmother kind of wasn't feeling that. So
Right.
yeah, with the Jordan.
But when you first went on tour, you were still at Long Beach. You were still in high school.
Yeah, I was just about to graduate.
They got into a shootout on the first day of school.
At Dominguez, I was gonna check in Dominguez, and yeah, it was a shootout the day we was checking in. Like I was gonna sign up and everything.
That's the day you fresh and everything.
Grandmother like, let's go. Like, let's go. We going to Jordan. I mean, Jordan wasn't much better because they really wasn't feeling nobody from Compton over in Long Beach at the time. So it was kind of like, it was cool though. I think Warren was there for a hot second before he went over to Poly. So, but yeah, Snoop was there for a second too. They both were at Jordan for a second, and they went over to Poly or whatever. But yeah, that shootout thing just wasn't. Family wasn't feeling that. Like, no, you can't go to no school where they got a shootout. Like, and I think it was like literally the second day of school or something there. Dominguez is kind of notorious.
So tell us a little bit more about the neighborhood.
Our neighborhood was cool. I mean, I lived literally around the corner from Kelly Park. You got Tweety Bird Lope, the rapper. Yeah. But everybody, our neighborhood, we had Dre on my street. You had Easy 2 blocks, ran 3 blocks over. DJ Train and my boy Toothy, he produced Wicked and a bunch of other stuff for Cube. They were like South Side, which is basically from Ren, like a 3-4 minute walk. Yellow was on the other side of Compton. But our side was cool. I mean, it was just, a lot went on over there, but it wasn't like you drive to the hood and it's just like, okay, this is the ghetto. It didn't look ghetto. There's no beat up houses. Almost everybody over there had 2 parents, but it was still Compton.
Right.
And things happen like you
Right.
know.
Since this is a podcast, was you at the famous, infamous EAZE E Pool Party?
Oh yeah, I was at all 3 of them.
I was, Brody, the one that,
Well, 2 pool parties and the pajama
the
party.
one that the videotape circulated around the country. That was the first time I ever seen a woman squirt. That shit blew my mind. It fucked me
You
up
know
for
what the
rest of my life,
craziest
for
part
real.
about the first pool party?
Yeah, that
It was
one.
at Dre.
that
It was
one.
it was at Eric's house. And,
Yeah.
the way the houses was set up, it was just like you had your house and the backyard, the pool, and just the regular gate. And it was other houses. So basically, we're having this pool party, and neighbors from all the other houses at their gate looking. Got kids, and it was kind of a mess. Like I just because you got these girls, and the girls was like, you got to see the full video. From my understanding, I don't know if he still has it, but I know he did. Toddy T is the only person I know who had the entire video of the pool party. I don't know if he still has it.
When they had the little what they
the
were,
contest?
the little contest
Yeah,
in
with
the
the
pool.
little-
Right. What?
She squirted by herself.
Yeah, it
You
was.
remember that?
It
No.
was
But what I do remember is that New York cats was all like, "L.A. man, I want to go to L.A." After that video
I
was
think
out,
that did open the door for a lot of
Yeah,
rappers to be
everyone's
like, man, I think I want. Why you
LA?
think they live in Calabasas? Why?
LA's got it cracking out there. Like, whoa, But yeah, I remember that.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
It was real crazy.
I remember all the girls saying, ugh. I was like, amazing.
You gotta tell us about the tour, though. You gotta
Yes,
tell us about
indeed.
The tours were like the craziest thing. It's like,
Well, take us on the first one. You started as a roadie, and then and you traveling around the country. You just out of high school, in high school.
it was crazy. Like the first
You
show
ain't
we
old
did
enough
was
to
in,
drink.
Yeah, I don't think that stopped nobody. Really.
Right.
No, but the first show was in Nashville, and
Mm.
basically that's the scene that's portrayed in the movie when they were in the hallway,
Uh-huh.
like your bitch. But it was kind of a different type of hotel, and it
Yeah.
kind of went down a little bit different. But it's some shit like that went down. And it was always some kind of adventure because they basically would get to town, and you better lock up your girl because
Right.
they coming to find her. And EaZE always did the craziest shit. He would literally announce what hotel we were at on stage. So you can just imagine what happened at the hotel. Like
Yeah.
we get there and it's 5,000 people outside and shit the hotel.
Were guys in other cities trying to front on NWA yet, or had that not really
It
started
was
yet?
just so much.
A lot of that.
Dudes hated. Like it was just like the same way. Like nowadays, like every dude hates Drake because his girl likes him.
Right.
It was the same way with NWA. It's like, okay, your girl fucking likes us. Fuck. So yeah, the Nashville was crazy because like they had some girls. They was chilling with some girls, and their boyfriends came, and it was just a mess. But
Right.
that was kind of like a recurring theme.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it was, so that's why the security was kind of like always on point. Like they had to be. It was just always something crazy.
So how'd you smooth into the DJing role from? How'd you finesse that?
Oh, I mean, I was already kind of DJing a little bit, but then me and DLC just kind of clicked, and we just did our thing, and it was just like it was dope. Like DJing for him was real dope because it was just like shit. He was just hearing how he spit back then. It was just like it was amazing just to be his DJ and just to fucking it was dope.
And he was performing the songs that would be on his first album before it came out, the
Yeah.
Formula or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And people, I mean, the reaction was good for it. Like being an open act sometimes kind of like you get whatever, but the reaction was like real good.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm glad
He
we're
was
on the
fire.
same page.
Yeah.
Because now DOC, that's my man. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually in my old group. We dancing in that video, funky enough in that little ravine at the
For real?
very end. Yeah, but we dance all day though. That's all they use. But that was my man, another very generous fellow. You know,
Everybody from the whole clique they had their specialties. I would just call it. Like, Eric was just the generous one. DLC was generous. Dre was honest. Like Dre, I would be standing around him sometimes. He'd be talking to artists. You're on tour. Everybody got that cassette. Like, hey, check out my cassette. Blah blah. And he would listen to a lot of the stuff, but he was just honest with people. He would tell you if it's whack, but then he would back it up by saying, okay, you should do this. Like, he didn't just be like, you whack, and he walked off. He would let you know, and that's kind of where I learned it from. Just like, you don't want people to stay in the same. If you ain't doing something right, don't tell them you're doing it right where they stay in that same position. Like, you want them to kind of elevate. And that's how Dre was. Like, he was real honest with it.
Now, DLC, I want to get a little deep here because this is conversation we still have. You know, like people have the top 5, whatever. Yeah. We still have this conversation. DLC and the accident.
Man.
We always dream what would DLC been like on the Chronic album. Because we heard the songs he wrote. We knew which verses he wrote. But we would always dream to this day, how would he be on the Chronic too? What would he be doing now? So how did it feel, man, after that accident?
I look at it like this. First off, I found out about the accident the day before me and him were going to go on tour with EPMD without NWA support. So Dre called me. I can tell you exactly.
So his album was out.
Like Dre beep. I think it was still the beepers and all that. Dre beeping me. I'm walking. I still remember this day like it was yesterday. I'm walking in Music Plus in Lakewood to get some vinyl. Dre called me. Oh, you're not going on tour. I'm like, why? And I thought he was playing. He was like, oh, DLC had an accident. I thought he was joking. He was like, nah, I'm serious. I was like, oh, shit. But then, as far as like, I don't know. I feel like it was honestly a gift from God, kind of, because if you like, people don't really know his background. They don't know he was involved with Ruthless. Then he was involved with Death Row. Then he was involved with Aftermath, and he was a big force behind all 3 of them.
Very instrumental.
Like, people don't know that. People don't know that he's the reason why the whole Dog Pound and Snoop and the dudes are so tight and why they rap like that. He's the reason. He is the sole reason why they rap like that. He taught those dudes all of that. So I just feel like it was maybe a gift from God. Maybe some guy like, okay, well, you probably would be better off here than you would be over here. So that's how I feel. But people, I wish. Not really. They don't have to do a movie, but some kind of documentary on him. I want people to really people do not know the impact that he had. This is 3 major labels. This is not like
we need to do that book.
That'll be a book or something. He needs his story told because it's not okay, the little mom and pop. You dealt with three major labels. You went from Ruthless to Death Row to Aftermath. That's major. Nobody can say that's like Kobe going to play basketball, football, and baseball. He good at all of them. You know what I'm saying?
What did Straight Outta Compton get wrong? The movie.
I mean, it was pretty accurate to. I would say 80-20. I tell people 80-20, but it's at the same time it's a movie. It's not a documentary. It's not, it's a biopic or whatever. So it was just some things that happened that might not have happened. That like the Detroit thing, nobody got arrested, but it was a big deal. Like it was that Detroit show was a big ass deal because they told them they don't do don't do fuck the police. If you do it, you're gonna get arrested. And everybody like, okay, we won't do it. As soon as they walked away, Dre like, we're doing it. They didn't tell Eric though. But they did it, and all the commotion started and all of that crap. But that was a big deal. But yeah, in the movie, they made it like everybody got arrested and all that. Nobody got arrested. They got tickets. They got like $25 tickets.
Did you start to see the dissension that was starting on those tours and stuff between the different sides of how the group was going to split?
I seen the Cube side, just how he was more in tune to like he wanted to know what was really going on, opposed to everybody else kind of like, okay, I'm riding a wave right now. This is cool, and there's nothing wrong with that. 'Cause you got a bunch of dudes that's pretty much from the hood, and now you got them up here. So it's just like they were just kind of like riding the wave. But Cube was kind of more. He was kind of like cruising the wave, but he was more in tune with, okay, where's my cut? Where's this? And I deserve this, and he was more in tune with what kind of should have been important to everybody else, but it kind of wasn't because like I said, everything happened so fast, but he kind of paid attention.
You were very close with EAZE. Why do you think that he was loyal to Jerry Heller for so long?
Because I just felt like it was like, okay, I got this man he's helping us, and I see where he's helping us at, but then at the same time I am friends with Dre, but then we got this man, he's done this and this for us. Why am I going to say, okay, fuck him now? Which I can understand, but then at the same time, it's just like him and Dre go so far back. And it's like for me, it would have been better to just see them sit down at a table and figure out what the problem is, opposed to everybody else getting involved in it, and then it became like a bigger problem.
Okay. So you see the start, and you've seen the rise. What changed? Like EazyE always seemed to stay level and steady. What changed about him from the beginning to when he became EaZE?
He didn't really change that much. I just think it was just more stuff put on him.
Okay.
And Eric was the type. Eric's focus was business, but then his focus was also women.
Mm-hmm.
He had I love women problem, but I mean, what rappers probably don't.
Man.
What NBA stars don't. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a bad thing, but it was so much starting to be put on him. But he still handled it like a G. You know what I mean? It didn't. The whole beef between him and Dre, it's something that could have been settled between them. But then once you get this side in it and that side in it, and they talking more than the two people who are the focus of it, that's when it became a problem.
Is there anything that you want to speak on or not about the conspiracy theories about EaZE's death or anything?
I mean, I've always been vocal about that. I'm never going to be quiet about it. Like the day that I heard what he was in the hospital for, I said something's wrong. Like I knew the dude messed with a lot of women, but he also at the same time wore condoms. He did. I mean, I know on TV or whatever he was saying, he was saying shit, but that was a lot of TV talk. I knew. I can tell you this right now. You can get 10 people that were kind of, don't even have to be super close to Eric, just kind of close to Eric, and I guarantee at least 5 of them have a story about, I had to run to the store and get him some condoms one day. Like, everybody has that story. So I knew it was something shady from the start. And then my boy Big Man, who just passed away not too long ago, him and Eric were really close. They had just had a test 6 months prior to that, which was negative. So you can't go from having a negative test to a few months after, then you got full-blown AIDS and you die. To me, it's always been something shady behind that.
Definitely.
Always. Like, you even have doctors that say that. Like, and then, so I saw Tomika literally maybe a couple weeks after his death at a fucking club of all places, and she was being friendly to me. I just told her like, I think you're the reason he dead, and I walked away. That's why we've always had problems. Like she's never liked me.
Wait a minute, man. You can't high step past that one, Cuddy Mac. You told Tomika that she's the reason why he's dead.
I said you're probably the reason why he's dead. I mean, I don't like for me. Damn. I hadn't talked to Eric for like 2 years prior to that, but that was still somebody that I consider like a father to me. He helped me so much and he taught me so much. So it's like I'm always him and Rand are two people that I'm always indebted to, like no matter what. So it's like I that's just how I felt because no matter what Tomika says in the news, no matter what she says to anybody, she wasn't like a top 5. Okay, she weaseled her way back in once he got sick. He was done with her. He was done with Jerry. He was done with both of them. They were both gone. But then when he got sick, she kind of weaseled her way back in.
This is a real.
I mean, honestly, I've never been quiet about the women in Eric's life and what I feel about them or what their involvement with him. I don't care. They can't do shit to me. I don't really give a shit. Like, you know what I mean? But I know Tomika she's a bad person. Like from start to finish, she's a bad person. She's somebody that shouldn't have never had her hands on Ruthless, and it's just.
Yeah, I've never seen her smile.
She don't smile. She's a mean ass bitch. Like, and I don't care. I don't have any love for her because of the simple fact she's so fucked up. Like just in general, like everything about her is fucked up. I had a meeting with her. This was probably like a year ago, and I didn't want to do it, but my boy wanted me to do it because we were trying to work out this deal. And just sitting there with her for 3 hours was like, I literally was just fucking biting my fucking teeth because I didn't want to just go off on her. And she was saying all this shit that she knows that I know for a fact was bullshit. And I just let it slide because I don't like her. I just really don't like it. It was a lot of people in Eric's life that a lot of people didn't like, and she was one of them.
Wait, she was a side. She wasn't even a side piece. You say
she wasn't really a side, but it was just like Eric had his women. It's like, ask her this. If you ever talk to her, ask her, hey, did you ever stay in the house in Norwalk? Did you ever stay in the house in Calabasas? No. Like if you're not somebody that he really, really cared about, you're never gonna enter any of these houses. And she would always tell people, oh yeah, I used to live in Norwalk. Bitch, I lived in Norwalk. You never spent the night there. Ever. I lived in Calabasas. You've never even been in that fucking house until after Eric passed. So tell lies to somebody else. Don't tell them to me. And that's the problem I have with her, and that was the problem I had with Jerry. But I don't talk shit about Jerry anymore because, you know, he passed on. But those are the problems I had with them, and they had problems with me because I know the shit that they say is bullshit, and that's why they always try to discredit me. But you can't discredit somebody who was fucking there. Was there. You can't discredit me. You can go to Rand or any, like when they did the movie, why did they come to me? They came to me because they knew I knew shit. Even though they didn't use a lot of the shit I told them about Eric, because Tomika pretty much ran that, but it's like she's just a bad person. I don't care. Fuck her. That's how I feel about
her.
We're gonna move on from that.
Yes,
hold
indeed.
on. Why is NWA still so popular? Why do you think?
I think because the state of fucking hip hop right now, just fucking Fetty Waps and
right, but there's a lot of but homie, there's a lot of artists from back in the day that don't have the.
I think it's about like as far as. I think they've always been popular, but I think with the police situation and all that, I think it just made them more popular. Like with the whole state of how these motherfuckers getting killed for no reason and all this other shit. I think it just made the movie opened the door wide open, but it was even before that. They were already like kind of like still. I don't know, like the brothers. We understand the white kids. I talked to a lot of white kids, and they just kind of like they're really into that because it's like cool to them. But I think they starting to understand more what NWA was really talking about with all the shit going on now.
It's like powerful.
It's just. I mean, I think. The movie opened the door for not just NWA, but for everybody from kind of that era because people, I think, with the state of hip hop now, a lot of people are starting to look backwards. Like, okay, NWA was cool. Who else was cool back then? Then they start pulling up. Oh, okay, this person was cool. All right. So, I don't know. I just think NWA kind of just opened that door wide open for all the old school dudes. And
it's relevant because what about you, P? I haven't separated Ice Cube, the actor, from Ice Cube, the MC from NWA yet. Like I've separated Will Smith from the Fresh Prince. You know what I'm saying? I can see the difference. I can see the transition.
Oh, I separated them a long
I haven't
time
separated
ago.
Ice Cube from NWA from
I
whether
have.
he's doing the kids movie or whatever he's doing. It's
he's
still
still
Ice
Ice
Cube.
Cube,
Yeah.
and that whole thing, like how everything transpired, like how he left the group and blah. For me, like I always say, like it's something. It's all that's God's will because it all panned out. Like who knows how anybody would have been if they would have stayed together and then tried to do separate things, and it might not have worked. You know what I mean? But Cube left. That little beef between him and NWA boosted both of their stocks. And who knows if they would have stayed together, what would have happened? You know. But I mean, I would have liked to see everybody stay together because it was just like. But I knew when NWA was doing Niggas for Life, I knew for a fact there was something wrong. Like you could just tell because Dre put a lot into that. But he wasn't. Like he put a lot into it, but when he wasn't putting anything into that, he was somewhere else. So it was a lot. Like you can just tell it was something was going on.
Was there anybody in the inside that was jealous of your relationship with EAZE? Because you guys was real close.
Jerry. That's why we had beef because it was just like Jerry's thing was basically he wanted to be the person close to E. He didn't want anybody else close to E. I was close. I had the key to every house, the key to every car. I knew where bank accounts was at. I knew where everything was at. So I was close to E. Like everybody tell you, if you sit down with Cube, he'll tell you the same thing. This is why he told me like with the movie, he was like, hey, I need you help with this because I wasn't after I left. I don't know what happened, and I know how you and E were. So, but it was Jerry was the main person. He was jealous of anybody. If you were close to Eric, he was jealous of you. It didn't matter who you were.
Speed. We gotta wrap this up on the time, but is there anything in closing that you want to say about the book or about your story or anything like that?
I don't know. I'm just excited to do the book and just to get those pictures out there because I see all the other pictures that float around out there. So I'm like, hey, let's get my shit out there. And just I don't know. Looking at the pictures, it just brings back so many memories of like just the fun shit. That was just a fun time.
Welcome to Over Edge Books, man. This is
Yeah.
the spot to be.
All right, well, Ledge, thanks, man. You want to send it out?
Yes, sir. This is legendary OG Cuddy Mac.
Everybody should give out their social media.
Yes, definitely, Speed. Give me your social media,
It's just
Instagrams, and all that good
everything
stuff.
I have is just DJ Speed NWA. The Twitter, the Instagram, everything. It's just DJ Speed NWA.
And what about you, P?
Over the Edge Book on Instagram or Paul_DJP_Stewart on Instagram. Hit me up.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm at Soul Brother Legendary, all medias, legendary, OG Cuddy Mac, Read with Weed. We'll be back at you next week. New author, new Mac time, same Mac channel.
That's right.